I don't know, been floating down a freezing river. Wild horses and fellow rafters alongside you, with your 3-month pregnant wife in your raft, carrying your child that will one day lead millions, holding in his tiny hands your family's legacy so tightly. And while you're floating down this river, it's a blistering 110 degrees outside, and you finish your raft ride down the river only to realize that you locked yourself out of your car at the exit, leaving you and your group stranded and panicked. You can relate, right? You've totally been there. Let me quickly set up the scene for you. Me and my wife, Victoria, were floating down the river with 2 of our friends, David and Jimmy. Now, here was the plan. We were gonna take 2 cars to the river so that we could park one of our cars at the start of the river, and then we were gonna take the other car and park it at the exit of the river. We would hop out of the car at the start, we would float down the river, we would exit the river, and then we would hop into the car at the exit. This way we didn't have to pay $25 for a bus ride from the exit back to the start. Great plan, bulletproof. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Perfect idea, leaving our fate in the hands of Mother Nature and some terrible concocted exit strategy to save $25 with my pregnant wife. We get to the end of the river, and it happened. Everyone does one of these, right? They're looking for the set of keys. Panic sets in. Empty pockets. No exit keys. Mother Nature, yeah, she won. We had the keys to the first car that was miles away, but we didn't have the keys to our exit car. Yeah, they were locked inside the car. We lugged all of our stuff from the river to our locked car, and we started assessing the situation. And by assessing, I mean we were looking at each other with blank stares, and everyone's eyes were telling each other, are you gonna figure this out? I'm not gonna figure this out. I don't know what we're going to do. How in the world were we going to figure this out in this moment? Now, after the initial shock, I quickly realized I was going to be the solution. My wife, she was 3 months pregnant, and yeah, she couldn't do anything. My friend Jimmy, she had to look after my wife. And well, my friend David, he had to look after all of our stuff that we lugged out of the river. I wanted to, in the worst way, point a finger at someone else and say, it's on you. You figure it out. I don't know what we're doing. I realized that I was on the hook to get us out of this pickle. As much as I wanted someone else to bear the responsibility, I knew I couldn't pass it off. It was on me. Here's what I had to do. First, I had to somehow collect $25 for a bus ride from strangers because, well, we did not have our wallets. Then I would have to get on the bus and travel miles back to our car to get the start car. And then finally, I would have to get in the car and go rescue the others back at the exit. And oh yeah, it was 110 outside, so I had to do this lickety-split. I left the pack and I made my way to the bus station. I walked up to a few strangers begging for money as if my life was on the line. And thanks to our friends at Venmo and a kind soul stranger, I Venmo'd some random dude $25 and he had pity on me and bought my bus ticket. I made the long bus journey back to our first car, got in, drove like an F1 driver back to my wife and friends, and I got us out of the pickle. Take that L, Mother Nature. Taylor won. For real though, have you been there? Maybe not a river with your pregnant wife locked out of your car, but have you been in a situation where you wanted to pass off responsibility to someone else because it would have been easier? But deep down, you knew that responsibility was on you and you had to figure it out. You were in a group project in science class, and well, you were in that group where no one did anything. No one knew what molecules or atoms were, and they wanted to pass the work off to someone else in the group, hoping they would figure it out. And you wanted to do the same. However, you knew everything you needed to know about molecules and atoms to get the job done. But you just didn't want to do the work. You wanted to pass it off to someone else. But you quickly realized then, more than not wanting to do the work, you didn't want an F. So you knew what you had to do. You had to step up. It's on you. You were the leading scorer on your basketball team. You had a big game against the rival school down the block, and yeah, you were playing like trash. You couldn't make a bucket. And your team, yeah, they looked like trash too. And before you knew it, you were down 15 at half. Everyone was defeated, and you wanted to give up. And at halftime, your coach gets in front of everybody in the locker room and gives this hoorah speech and asks, who's gonna step up? Who's gonna lead this team out of the hole? And even though you were the leader, you wanted to pass the responsibility off to someone else because you were having an off day. You didn't think you could turn your game around. But deep down, you knew your team was going to come back if you stepped up. It's on you. Mom and dad, they left for date night, and who do they put in charge of the little brothers and the little sisters? Yeah, it was you. And we all know how crazy little siblings can be. By the end of the night, your house looked like a tornado tore up the place, and there was a crazy mess. You knew that it was on you as older brother, older sister to clean up the mess before mom and dad got back. But let's be real, the thought of cleaning, yeah, that sucks. But you're the oldest, and you knew you had to step up. It's on you. We've all been in places where you knew that you had to step up because there was a responsibility that rested on your shoulders. But everything inside of you wanted to avoid that responsibility. And you wanted to point to someone else to handle it for you. Can I add just one more place in your life I think you feel this way? Being a Christ-centered difference maker. Here at CCB Students, we talk a lot about going outside the church and sharing Jesus with others. Your friends, your family, people at your school, people on your sports teams. We want you to share Jesus with other people that don't have a relationship with him. We want you to share the hope that Jesus can have in someone's life. We want you to share your faith with others and do what Jesus asks of us. One of Jesus' last commandments he gave us can be found in the Gospel of Mark. Mark 16:15 says this, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation." Jesus makes it abundantly clear. Go be a Christ-centered difference maker and share Jesus with others. It's on you. However, when we leave church and we go back to our everyday lives, we immediately start passing the responsibility off to other people. We try to point to others to do it, even though deep down we know that the responsibility is on us. We think to ourselves, well, you know, it's my student pastor's job. That's for him or her to do. They know what they're doing. Or we think, that's on my coaches. They're older than me, and, well, I can just rely on them to do it. Or we think, my parents, yeah, they do it. They can do it. I'm just a kid. Today, we're going to start a new series, and it's called It's on You. We want to have this conversation and show you that it's on you to share Jesus with others. It's not on your student pastor. It's not on your coach. It's not on mom. It's not on dad. It's on you. You are called to be a Christ-centered difference maker right now, and not later. I think for a lot of us, we've convinced ourselves the reason we try and pass the responsibility off to others is because, well, for a lot of reasons. We think, we're just lazy. We just don't want to. It's awkward. We get in our own heads about the conversations that might be. We might think, I might get made fun of. People might look at me different. Now, while those may be true, I actually don't think that's the core of the issue. I know this isn't the whole truth Because more than any other generation, your generation wants to help and love and serve others more than any other generation. You want to bring hope to people. So why would we care about these things if sharing Jesus could be the very thing to bring hope to someone? I believe the real reason you don't share Jesus with others is because deep down, you don't think you have what it takes to do it. You don't think you have the talent. You don't think you have the skills. You don't think you have the words. You don't think you have the influence. You think because you simply don't carry a title of pastor that you can't do it. Can I just tell you, that's wrong. That's a big fat lie. All of it. 1 Timothy 4:12 says this, don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example for believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. Guess what this verse is saying? Yeah, it's on you. Even at your young age, even when you think you can't do it, even when you don't carry the title of pastor, you have the capacity to set an example for Jesus for others. You have everything you need right now as a junior hire to share Jesus with others. Here's what I need you to walk away with today, knowing in your head and in your heart to start this series off strong. Jesus has called you to be a Christ-centered difference maker. Jesus has given you everything you need right now to do it. And you have to get in the game as a Christ-centered difference maker right now. Today in groups, I want us to accomplish two things. Here's the first one. I want us to have an extremely honest conversation with everyone in our group and talk about what's getting in the way of you being a Christ-centered difference maker and sharing Jesus with others. I can assure you that there's others in your group that have the same hangups that you have. But two, I want you to start practicing encouraging one another to get in the game and start sharing Jesus today. The best and easiest place to receive that encouragement should be right here in church in your small group. It's on you. Don't wait. You could be one conversation away from helping change someone's life forever because you simply shared Jesus with them. You don't need the title of pastor to share Jesus with others. Students, we believe in you. Go take a bold step right now and be a Christ-centered difference maker.